And what's up? We're back. So I got that other diff set up. I got the rear diff into the rear axle. Was feeling brave, went ahead and glued that one in there today. And then I didn't record, but I tore the rear axle shafts down. That was fun. I should have recorded because I got to break out the zip wheel and all that good stuff. So I'll be working on that today as well. The rear diff I did end up, just for shits and giggles, decided to kind of just check the specs on it or whatever. And the backlash was kind of what I felt was a little bit sloppy, like at about 12. A little better than 12,000. So I figured, well, I'll just crank it down a little bit. And I broke the caps loose, and there was 0 carrier bearing preload in the diff at all. So that was kind of maybe why they always blow up, I don't know, or somebody was in there before possibly, but either way, I cranked that down, got it back down to like 5 or 6 thousandths and put it back in, so that should be good to go now. Now I'm just going to press the axles back together. Pretty boring, but if you need to know how to do it, check out my other video right here. That kind of goes over a little bit more of the ins and outs of pressing and the tools needed to do it. And then yeah, so just kick it, I'll press these back together and we'll go from there. Sorry, I don't have a story to tell. It's been a minute to get these shocks on because I've had a hard time finding the shock mount. There are a couple of different shock mounts available, apparently. So, I guess while we're here talking about it, this would be your, I guess this must be an 84, 85 only, because you would use the same one for both sides. So we'll just say this is 84, 85. As far as I know, 79 to 83 use a different one from both sides, because both of the shocks just mounted up to that cross member versus a front to rear traverse kind of action or whatever. So what ended up happening is this spread is too narrow because of the narrow housing. This is your typical Toyota, like 2 3/8 spacing. So I ended up getting some plates, and I got a plate, but as you can see, what's going on with this one is the shock mount's going the wrong way. This is actually a Tacoma plate, right? So aside from the shock mount being on the wrong side, this bolt spacing is the same. It matches this. It would have worked, but the shock's in the wrong place. So the other one is this one right here, and you can see the bolt spacing's different. These ones I believe are from third gen, so like 89 to 95 single cap. For whatever reason, those leaf springs in the rear have like this plastic cap thing that goes over the top of them, and they use it uses a different U-bolt plate. So, I mean, like I said, don't quote me. I think these are single cabs and the extra cabs are the regular ones, but it may be vice versa. So just kind of keep your eye peeled for those. So anyway, I got the right mounts. I'm just going to go ahead and put the shocks on now, because that's just, like I said, just been taking way too long. This kit, I did notice it comes with 2 different sets of bushings. So the smaller bolt hole bushing is for the earlier trucks that used that different style. So the 79 to 83 stuff, maybe some of the international stuff, I don't know. Like I said, we ran into a little bit of international versus NA stuff on this particular kit. So oh yeah, and I guess speaking of which, you can see this is the new greaseable bolt that Dobinson ended up sending us. They still didn't provide me the collar. Like I said, I don't really know what the issue is, but hopefully they'll get that squared away if you guys run into the same thing. If this were going on a 79 to 83 truck, it would be a non-issue. And what I ended up doing, what I was gonna do, was just use the stock bolt and just like, you know, grease it. You just get away with going that route. Luckily my vendor, my custom toys, they were good and worked with Dobinson about getting the bolt and providing me that extra bushing that Dobinson didn't. So shout out to them, I appreciate that, you guys. So anyway, I'm just gonna get up here and put the shocks on. Should be super exciting. I don't know if you can see or not. The lower shock mount mounts right here. The upper shock mount mounts right here. So what that does is, I guess theoretically, keeps the axle from twisting a little bit. These do not appear to be side specific, so. So just for the sake of it, when you go to put these in, you want to put a little bit of lube on the seal here. You obviously lube that front seal when we go in. This bearing retainer, if you didn't know, this is actually your sealing surface. So we'll just go ahead and get this guy in here now. 4 bolts on the back are 14mm head. Or nut, I guess, not with a stud. Excuse me. So then, I guess, I went ahead and got this rear axle in. It's down on its own wheels. Didn't install the rear brakes, so I have to still turn those drums. But, so we got the axle in. So, you see those are just, that's a 265/70, so those are like a 31, 32 inch tire, I guess. That is the actual stance. So that's your fender gap. And looking at this, I just kind of went and did a little quick dirty measurement of the gap, measuring from the top of the frame to the top of the spring. And this truck has ended up being about like 12 3/8, and mind you, these are brand new springs. There's no weight, no cap, anything on there right there. So like 12 1/4 ish. The measurement on mine is, it's not completely even right now. It's about 13 1/4 on one side, 11 1/2 on the other side. So yeah, this is actually kind of about the review I would like to see. I mean, we're running the 430s and the 22 RE, so I'm really kind of gonna be limited to like a 31 or 32 to keep it really like drivable, I think. Maybe with the super skinny 33, I thought about doing like those 255s or like a 235/80 or something like that on this. Might look all right. But the flip of that is just going to, you know, a little bit more aggressive 265. I could fit a 285/70 on here too, I think. And it would be all right. Other thing I got done is went ahead and stabbed the front diff. So I showed you that breakaway and stuff yesterday. That should be much better for off-roading. Reason I didn't go with the truetrac, I know a lot of people kind of like those. I ran one up front for a while in a different vehicle, and I didn't like it. I just thought for the money it sucked. Like I said, I paid 200 bucks for this used diff, which got me another gear set and the locker. I paid $85 to have that other piece shipped here. So basically, you know, minus my time, I would say I'm in that locker, you know, I'm in at $300 dirty money, I guess. I swapped both of the other brand new bearings on there. I had to make it fit. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but as it was, the carrier was still pushed off a little bit ways opposite of the ring gear side, so that adjuster was kind of pushed out a little bit. That was giving me a little bit of a problem when I put the diff in just now, but little bit of clearance in there, knocked out a hole so it will fit better. So basically, I guess that kind of talks about putting that limited slip carrier into there. So, you know, if you're one of these parts grinders, Craigslist people like I am, there's an easy way to find a gear set if need be, or like I said, find a clutch style limited slip locker. Because these are, whereas my understanding is with like a truetrac, it's completely open until you throttle into it and then it like wants to lock up. Whereas this one's mostly locked up until you turn a corner, stuff like that. They just kind of work a little bit differently. I think this will be better, and if it's not, it's not, you know. I mean, obviously ultimately a selectable is the way to go, but I just kind of, this build isn't really like super hardcore rock crawler style build. I think it's more of like something that someone could DD and then go out on the weekends and do your hunting and camping and things like that, and have a vehicle equipped with stuff where you're not going to get hung up out there because you're stuck with an open diff. You know, that sucks. And don't get me wrong, like these trucks go like ridiculously far even with an open diff, but just having that electric locker in the back will make such a huge difference. Just a lock rear end takes you like 100 times further than an open diff does. So that's basically kind of what we're trying to go through here, something that's like sleeper-ish looking but is very off-road capable still. Very much Toyota still. It's kind of what we were going for here. I really like the way that I'm really digging the height of the truck. I think that looks really good. And then here, I'll show you real quick. We gotta jump on the bumper. So like I'm 150 pounds soaking wet. But that gives you an idea of what's up. Then I showed you the shackle angle here before already, but very nice, not vertical. Once we get the cap and the rest of the weight in this truck, it'll be very nice. Same thing with the front. Those are nice. And then, I guess we didn't talk about, I went ahead and put the booster, the brake booster master in there. And then added the clutch hardline as well. Rerouted the front hardline brake so they end up in the right place. And then, like I said, you've seen the pedals already. You need the springs up in there. So, alrighty then. So I guess that's that for this episode of finally putting the diffs in this truck, doing that little LSD action. Please like, subscribe. Appreciate watching. Peace.